Hi everybody, Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records, and I am doing yet another contest entry. This is my third one today that I've videoed. This one is for Brad over at H2Vinyl. He's reached 350 plus subscriptions, and he's asking us to submit videos using the numbers 3, 5, and 0. And I'll go over that as I introduce. I normally will introduce or tell everybody what's playing at this time in the background, but I can't do it this time because this is my third attempt at shooting this. I had this album playing, Days of Future Past, Moody Blues with the London Festival Orchestra conducted by Peter Knight, which has some really good narration during the album. This is a great album, but and you see it everywhere. You see it crate digging all the time. But the problem is, these things got played to death. It's such a good album. People enjoyed it so much. It's such a well-loved album that it's hard to find a good, clean copy. I was playing what I was hoping was going to be a VG copy. It wasn't, it was not really good, but it just had a little bit of surface noise. And while I was shooting this video, and it started skipping bad, so I had to trash it. But I'm still in search of Days of Future Past, VG Plus or VG, high-end VG. I'll find it eventually, I'm sure. Okay. All right. But Days of Future Past has some great narration in it, and that was what he wanted, was 3 albums with narration. This is my repress copy of the Louvin brothers, Ira and Charlie Louvin, and their classic album with maybe the best album cover ever, Satan is Real. And this album, the title track on this album, includes at the beginning of it a recitation. They did that a lot with their gospel music. They would do a recitation, almost like a sermon within the song, oftentimes at the beginning of the song, and they do that on the song, in this album, on the song Satan is Real. Some really great songs on here, but Satan is Real really stands out with that recitation. So that would be my second of 3 albums with narration. And my next one is A Man Must Carry On, Jerry Jeff Walker. Remember, I had this album when I went off to college. And that's that very copy right here. I had it on 8-track too, though. So I guess I had this album. Maybe I had the album and the 8-track, I don't know. But this is kind of a concept album from Jerry Jeff. And it includes some poetry and also just some dialogue. At the beginning, Jerry Jeff does Stereo Chickens at the beginning, side 1, record 1, side 1. And they're just down in the chicken coop messing with the chickens, clucking. They start clucking. They start picking guitars. It's real fun. And there's a man in Lukenbach, Texas, that Waylon and Willie made the hit, brought that town into light. But his name was Hondo Crouch, and he had business cards that called him an Imagineer, authorized distributor of imagination. And Hondo Crouch does several poems between songs on the album A Man Must Carry On. And there, see how much Jerry Jeff features Hondo Crouch. There he is. Very good concept album from the outlaw country, a real outlaw country artist, not a media created outlaw country artist. Jerry Jeff Walker. Doesn't matter where you're from, it's what's in your heart, in your mind, and in your soul. Jerry Jeff's actually from upstate New York, but he went down to Texas and really found a home there. And he exemplified Texas. Okay, and so that's my 3 with narration. And then he wanted 5 albums that you seldom, if ever, have shown in the VC community. And I just randomly pulled these, looking through stuff I didn't think I'd shown. I don't believe I've ever shown Gamble Rogers' album. And this self-titled album, and it is The Lord Gives Me Grace and the Devil Gives Me Style, he said. This is on Mountain Railroad Records out of Wisconsin, Cambridge, Wisconsin, from 1977. And Gamble Rogers was a songster, I guess you'd say. Traveled up and down, mainly the East Coast, I guess. He lived in Florida, and he would come up and down. He would play in this my area in North Carolina, Raleigh area. He would play at a place called the Pier a lot, and he actually does some recitation in here too. But just a really, really neat guy. He was a great storyteller. He played the guitar great. He does a deep gap salute to Doc Watson on here, showing off his guitar skills. Several, or a lot of them, are his own songs, but he does covers as well. Kennesaw Line and July You're a Woman, which is a great song. I believe Willie did that as well. DeKalb County Deputy Sheriff, kind of a humorous song. He did some humorous stuff. He's got one called Black Label Blues on here that he wrote. And Honky Tonk Heroes, the Billy Joe Schaefer songs on here. Blood Mountain. Tragically, I don't know how many years later, but some years later, as I said, he lived in Florida. He was on the beach, and someone got in trouble out in the ocean, as can happen. Probably a undertow got them or something, swept them away. He went out into the ocean to try to save that person, and ended up perishing in himself. Sacrifice he made trying to save someone's life. And here's an interesting figure and country singer, a country singer's country singer. If you think Vern Godston is a hardcore country singer, you need to listen to Vernon Oxford. This is his and hers. Yes, his and hers. And this is on Rounder Records. He's one of those artists that never quite got the breaks, and but he, just kept at it. And this is Rounder Records, kind of a folk bluegrass label, traditional label. They commissioned an album from him. This is just a very good album. Just hard honky tonk country singer, a real traditional country singer. And here's one I don't think I've ever shown that I found in, I probably didn't pay 50 cents for this record. This is Picking and Singing from String Bean. This is from 1962. And you can see String Bean, his persona on stage was he was sporting the sag before the urban kids sported the sag. He's got his belt down here around his knees here. And he would come out on stage like that, and he'd play the banjo. Because remember, before Earl Scruggs revolutionized the banjo player was usually the comedian in the group. He would be the one that would, tell jokes and things like that. And the banjo, that was just the role of the banjo. You were expected to be, to keep your job, you better be good at telling jokes and stories and things like that. But this is from 1962, String Bean, Old Time Banjo Picking and Singing. It's on Star Day, the label out of Nashville that put out a lot of good music. And this is actually a pretty valuable record, believe it or not. I looked it up. I mean, when I say valuable, I don't mean it's worth hundreds of dollars or anything like that. But it's in very good condition, and it's, I don't know, maybe it might be worth 15 or 20 bucks, something like that. I'm not sure. But, that's a neat album. And here's another one I found in the crate digging that I got for next to nothing, I'm sure. This is from 1959, Beauty and the Beat. This is Peggy Lee and George Shearing performed together for the first time in a spectacular concert recorded during the Disc Jockey Convention in Miami, Florida. And this is from 1959. Plays very good. I got VG. and I'm a pretty conservative grader, but it's a really good album. I mean, you know, and they're just good. Peggy Lee's such a great vocalist, and he's a great arranger and pianist. So then they were playing for DJs down in Miami, Florida. Okay, and my fifth one, this is a band out of Charlottesville, Virginia, I believe. Again, one of those bands that never made it big, but they had records out, usually on regional labels or independent labels. Traveled up and down the East Coast playing mostly. And this is the Skip Castro Band. And this is called Fast Break. And this is from 1984 on Midnight Records out of Charlottesville, Virginia. And they're a good kind of a rockabilly, blues rock, traditional rock band. If you keep hearing some grinding sound, it's not my teeth, it's my dog Chester. He, for some reason, when I start doing a video, he gets his bone and just starts wearing that bone out. So that's what you're hearing there. Okay. And the zero in the 350, he wanted artists you love, but you don't have any of their albums. Thought about that a little while, and I realized I do not have any Jimi Hendrix. I really love Jimi Hendrix's music, but I just do not have any of his albums. Crazy, isn't it? Okay, especially somebody like Jimi Hendrix. I almost bought one the other day when I was searching on Amazon, but I ended up getting the Beatles album instead. Okay, all right. So this is my entry into Brad's 350 sub contest, and I hope this meets the criteria, Brad, and I enjoy doing this. And I'll just remind everybody, I have a contest that's ending March 1st, so if you go to my channel and look around, it's my 130 plus subscribers contest. Love to have you enter that one as well, but if you don't, that's fine. It's cool. Anyway, remember, be kind to your neighbors, and everybody is your neighbor. Take care.